others
That
here.
is very detailed in the book, The Real Anthony Fauci. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, there's references in that book, and I don't know how much of it is accurate. But he's not being sued. Not that I'm aware of. I mean, and you would think that with the claims that he makes, he would be sued. And one of the claims that he makes is that there was a concerted effort to diminish the possibility of this lab leak hypothesis being mainstream. And that they went out of their way, and there was phone calls at midnight, and like, get near your phone. We're gonna have to do work about this, and they conspired. They conspired to push this narrative that. Also, like when you see him getting grilled by Rand Paul about gain-of-function research, and he's just his hands are shaking, and you can see he's lying. He's like, you do not know what you are talking about. He's slowing the conversation down to an almost unfollowable level. The way he talks and the way he utilizes words, Senator, you do not know what you are talking about. Who the fuck talks like that? Yeah. It's like a switch up pitch in baseball. It's like he's throwing you a pitch like, why is it coming at me 50 miles an hour? This doesn't make any sense. Like, you almost don't know what to do. You just want to interrupt him and just badger him and beat him down. And when you do that, that gives into that's what he wants. He wants chaos. He wants you to be yelling at him so he can get out of there.
Yeah, that's like, the lawyerly monotony of bureaucracy.
Yes. With all due respect, you do not know what you are talking about.
Yeah, when their administrations and their public servants behave like that, how they can't understand why people would be attracted to Donald Trump, who talks like a normal person, who says crazy, weird stuff all the time.
But he sounds like a normal person.
Yeah, it's just like...
But I mean, obviously, Fauci's not a political figure. I mean, he's like, it's more complicated.
Civil servant, of course.
It's more complicated, but it's also really complicated when you find out that he holds patents on some of these drugs, and he makes exorbitant amounts of profit off of these drugs. And also, when he was at the head, he was the guy that was responsible for giving out grants. So he was the guy that was responsible for sending money to thousands of doctors and organizations. He was the head of all that. He was the guy that was like the fucking top of the food chain when it came to medical science and the ability to dispatch a narrative and to put out a narrative and to make sure that everybody was moving in the same direction. Like, this drug does this, we're going to push it for that. And even though some of these drugs turned out to be horribly toxic and very dangerous for people, there's no repercussion. That remdesivir shit, like, you know, when they were pushing remdesivir as like being this treatment for COVID, it's not effective. It kills your kidneys. It's like there's a lot of like negative aspects. What are the side effects of remdesivir? And do they even promote the use of remdesivir anymore? Because I think they stopped doing it. I think it's like AZT with AIDS. You know, they just stopped. They were like, this is killing people. We got to stop doing this. But, well, what the fuck? What were you doing that led you to think that people should take AZT? Should take a fucking chemotherapy drug forever as a treatment for HIV? Like, what the fuck were you doing then?
Yeah, you can't expect to extract what has been the prevailing mentality in from this particular case. Did you hear them talk about that obesity drug that they're sort of pushing now? That there's a
semaglutide.
Oh man, that's like a lifelong. You take it forever. Is
that what it is? Semaglutide, you take that forever?
I don't know, man. It's that what I heard that Callie Means talk about on my show. That is potentially the most profitable drug in history that's being pushed now and is being patented and approved now.
I bet that's semaglutide. I bet that's that. There's a couple different Wegovy, I think they call it, and there's a couple different like brand names for it. But semaglutide it's a peptide that causes you to lose your appetite, but it also causes you to lose when people talk about the weight loss. Some crazy number of like 34% of the weight loss is bone mass and muscle tissue mass and connective tissue loss.
Get rid of your skeleton.
I mean, maybe you can mitigate that with weight training. Maybe they're just saying that that's like part of the loss of not eating much. Like if you don't eat much and your body mass drops, like maybe that's a natural byproduct of, maybe that could be mitigated with weight training. I don't know. But that doesn't sound good to me. Like what you could just actually just eat less. You don't have to take this stuff.
Everything externalized, everything becoming commodity. All times it seems like a war against nature, a war against the traits that human beings have, a war against the natural ability of people to organize. It all seems to be migrating in one direction.